It always starts the same way. One moment, your lights are on. Your phone is glowing. The hum of the fridge is in the background. And then, silence. Darkness. At first, you tell yourself it's nothing. Maybe a breaker tripped. Maybe the grid just hiccuped. But as the minutes tick by, then hours, then days, you realize, this isn't just an inconvenience. This is life without power. And the world you knew is gone. In the summer of 2021, Texas experienced a historic blackout. Temperatures plummeted below freezing. People froze to death in their own homes. Hospitals ran on dwindling generator fuel. Water systems failed. In Venezuela, blackouts became so frequent and so long that entire cities were plunged into chaos. Food rotted. ATMs stopped working. And crime? It skyrocketed. The truth is, when the grid goes down, your survival clock starts ticking. And there are 10 critical things you will wish you had, things that could mean the difference between making it through, and becoming another statistic. Number 10, a reliable, off-grid light source. When the power dies, the first thing you lose is light. And I'm not talking about inconvenience, I'm talking about survival. Darkness changes everything. You can't see hazards in your own home. You can't move safely outside. You can't signal for help. Picture this, it's 9:47 p.m. You're sitting in your living room when the entire neighborhood goes dark. At first, it's almost peaceful. The sky feels bigger without the light pollution. But inside your home, it's a different story. You stub your toe on the coffee table. You hear a strange creak near the back door. And you realize, your phone flashlight is already at 23%. And the power's not coming back tonight. This is why a reliable, off-grid light source is the first thing you'll wish you had. And when I say reliable, I mean 3 things. Independent of the power grid, batteries, solar, or crank-powered. Durable, waterproof, impact-resistant. Long-lasting, able to run for days, not hours. Too many people grab the cheapest flashlight they see. They toss it in a drawer, forget about it. And when they finally need it, the batteries are corroded. Or worse, the light's dead. Here's how to get it right. Keep multiple light sources. Headlamps, lanterns, flashlights. Store extra batteries in sealed bags. Consider a solar charging lantern so you're never truly out of power. Red light mode saves your night vision and conserves energy. I know a man who lived through the 2003 Northeast blackout, 55 million people in the dark. He told me the scariest part wasn't losing his AC or the spoiled food. It was hearing glass break outside his building. And not knowing who, or what, was moving in that darkness. In a blackout, darkness isn't just the absence of light, it's the perfect cover for desperation. And without a reliable light source, you're blind. Next, we move to item number 9, something you'll need even before your first meal in a blackout. Because without it, you might not survive the first 72 hours. Number 9, a way to purify water. When the power goes out, your tap becomes a gamble. You twist the handle, maybe the water still runs for a while. But the pumps that push it through the pipes, they run on electricity. And even if you do get water, here's the cold truth. In a blackout, municipal treatment plants can fail. What comes out of your tap might not be safe to drink. In the 2017 Puerto Rico blackout after Hurricane Maria, entire neighborhoods were cut off from clean water. People resorted to collecting rainwater from rooftops. Some drank from contaminated streams. And waterborne illnesses, like leptospirosis, started to spread. This is why a water purification system isn't optional, it's survival. There are 3 main ways to secure drinkable water off-grid. Filtration, portable filters like the Sawyer Mini or LifeStraw remove bacteria and protozoa. Chemical treatment, water purification tablets or drops kill pathogens that filters can't catch. Boiling, old school, but effective against most biological contaminants. I've seen new preppers make the same mistake, buying a cheap filter, never testing it, and assuming it will just work when the time comes. But if you've never used it, if you don't know its flow rate, if you don't understand its limits, you could be drinking false confidence. Have redundancy. Keep at least 2 different purification methods. Test your gear now, not during an emergency. Store water before a blackout hits. 1 gallon per person per day is the bare minimum. If you have the space, rainwater catchment systems can be a literal lifesaver. A friend of mine in rural California lived through rolling blackouts during wildfire season. By the 3rd day, his well pump stopped. The water in his storage tank ran low. He told me he'd trade every comfort in his house for just 1 more 5-gallon jug of clean water. Food can wait. Power can wait. But 3 days without water, and your body starts shutting down. This isn't a convenience, it's life or death. Number 8, emergency heat source. When the grid dies in the winter, the cold is more than uncomfortable, it's deadly. Your central heat. Gone. Your space heaters. Dead weight without power. And if you live in a region where temperatures can drop below freezing, every hour without heat puts you at risk of hypothermia. Think of February 2021. Texas, known for heat waves, was hit with a brutal winter storm. Millions lost power. Families huddled under blankets in their living rooms, burning candles just to take the edge off the cold. Some ran gas ovens with the door open. And never woke up, victims of carbon monoxide poisoning. You need an off-grid, safe heat source, and you need to know how to use it before you need it. Options include propane heaters rated for indoor use, like the Mr. Heater Buddy series. Wood stoves or fireplace inserts, if you have the fuel ready. Thermal blankets and sleeping bags rated for extreme cold. And here's the critical part, if it burns fuel indoors, you must have ventilation and a working carbon monoxide detector. People underestimate how quickly cold drains the body. You don't just tough it out. You shiver, you lose fine motor control, your core temperature drops, and then your judgment fails. You stop thinking clearly, which makes survival decisions even harder. Layer clothing, trapping warm air between layers is more effective than one heavy coat. Heat the smallest room possible, not your whole house. Keep Mylar blankets in every bug-out bag and vehicle. If you have a tent, pitch it inside your living room to trap body heat. In 1998, a massive ice storm hit eastern Canada. Entire towns lost power for weeks. One man told me he and his wife slept inside their 2-person tent, in the middle of their bedroom, because it was the only way to stay warm without burning through all their fuel. When the power goes out in the cold, your home becomes a refrigerator. And you are the perishable item. Don't wait until the temperature drops to figure out how you'll survive the night. Coming up, item number 7. It's something so basic, so obvious, that most people don't even think about it, until it's gone. And without it, every other prep you've made could fall apart in hours. Number 7, a way to cook without power. When the lights go out, so does your stove. Gas lines can be shut off for safety. Electric ranges become expensive paperweights. And even if you have food, without a way to cook it safely, you might as well be staring at an empty pantry. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy slammed into the East Coast. Millions lost power for days. I remember talking to a mother in New Jersey. She had a full freezer, but by day 3, everything was thawing. She tried to cook it all at once on a tiny candle stove, but the food spoiled before she could save it. She ended up dumping hundreds of dollars of meat into the trash while her kids ate cold canned soup. You need an off-grid cooking method, and preferably more than one. Here are your main options. Propane camp stoves, compact, reliable, and easy to store fuel for. Rocket stoves, burn twigs, sticks, and scrap wood with high efficiency. Charcoal grills, simple, but only for outdoor use. Solar ovens, slow cooking, but free energy when the sun's out. And don't forget the basics: matches, lighters, and fire-starting gear. Too many people forget about fuel. Owning a propane stove without extra propane is like having a flashlight with no batteries. In a long-term blackout, you can't just run to the store. Always store more fuel than you think you'll need. Practice cooking at least 3 meals with your off-grid method before the power goes out. Keep cookware that works on open flames. Cast iron is king. Have backup utensils and a manual can opener. A man I know in California lived through weeks of wildfire power shutoffs. By day 6, his family was living on crackers and peanut butter because he never thought to store propane. Now, he keeps 2 full 20-pound tanks in his garage at all times. In a blackout, food is more than calories, it's morale. And nothing breaks you faster than staring at food you can't eat. Number 6, backup power source. Electricity isn't just convenience, it's control. In a blackout, even a little power changes everything. You can charge radios. You can keep medical devices running. You can keep communication lines open. When the grid failed in California during wildfire season, a friend of mine used a small solar generator to keep his fridge running just 6 hours a day. That was enough to keep all his food safe, while his neighbors lost hundreds of dollars in spoiled groceries. Your backup power options depend on budget and space. Gas generators, high output, but noisy and fuel dependent. Solar generators, silent, clean, but slower to recharge. Deep cycle battery banks, long-term storage for stored solar or generator power. Whichever you choose, remember, power is useless without a plan to ration it. Some people fire up a gas generator and run it 24/7, until the fuel runs out on day 3. You have to think in weeks, not hours. Run essential devices only when necessary. Store fuel safely and legally, rotation is key. If you use solar, keep panels clean and angled toward the sun. Invest in battery backups for phones, radios, and small devices. In 2003, during the massive Northeast blackout, people lined up for blocks to charge their phones at the few places with generators. A little bit of power meant you could call loved ones. And in a crisis, that's worth more than gold. When the grid fails, you can't power your whole life. But with the right backup source, you can power the parts that keep you alive. Number 5, communication gear. In a blackout, information is survival. Without it, you're flying blind. You won't know if the danger is local or national. You won't know if help is coming, or if you're on your own. During Hurricane Katrina, cell towers collapsed. Phone lines were flooded. The only people who knew what was really happening were the ones with battery-powered or hand-crank radios. Here's what you need in your communication kit. NOAA emergency weather radio, battery, solar, or crank-powered. Walkie-talkies, for short-range contact with family or neighbors. Backup cell power banks, keep your phone alive as long as possible. Paper map, because GPS won't help if satellites or cell networks go down. Don't assume social media will tell you what's happening. In a real grid down, the internet could be gone. And even if it's up, rumors and misinformation spread faster than truth. Keep extra batteries in sealed bags. Test your radios regularly, know their range in your area. Store critical phone numbers and addresses on paper. Learn the basic emergency broadcast frequencies for your region. In the 2011 Japanese tsunami, power and cell service failed almost instantly. Survivors told me the only lifeline they had was a tiny hand-crank radio that let them hear evacuation instructions. Without it, they wouldn't have known the second wave was coming. Without communication, you're isolated. And in the dark, alone is the last place you want to be. Next, item number 4. This is the point in the list where the stakes jump from uncomfortable to truly life-threatening. If you don't have this next thing when the power goes out, you may not last a week. When the power goes out, hospitals become triage zones. Emergency rooms overflow. And if the blackout is wide enough, ambulance response times can stretch from minutes to hours to never. In 2017, after Hurricane Maria, I spoke to a man in Puerto Rico whose father cut his hand while clearing storm debris. It wasn't deep, something a few stitches could fix. But without power, the nearest clinic was closed. It took them 2 days to find help. By then, the wound was badly infected. He told me, "We didn't lose him to the storm, we lost him to the blackout." A well-stocked first aid kit is non-negotiable. But it's not enough to have one, you need to know how to use it. At minimum, you should have gauze, bandages, and medical tape. Antiseptic wipes and antibiotic ointment. Tweezers, scissors, and a digital thermometer. Pain relievers and anti-inflammatory medication. Any prescription meds you rely on, at least a 30-day supply. And remember, sterile gloves and CPR masks aren't just for professionals. If you're treating others, they can protect you. Far too many people buy a flashy, tactical kit online, toss it in a closet, and never open it. The middle of an emergency is not the time to figure out where the tourniquet is, or how to use it. Take a basic first aid and CPR course now. Rotate medications before they expire. Store kits in multiple locations: home, car, workplace. Include backup glasses, contacts, or medical devices you depend on. In the 2003 blackout that hit the Northeast, a young woman slipped on wet stairs and broke her ankle. The local clinic was running on generators, but the X-ray machines were down. Her family had to stabilize her leg themselves and wait 3 days for full medical care. They only managed it because they had splints and bandages on hand. Without power, you're your own first responder. And the life you save may not be your own. Number 3, secure food supply. Food won't disappear the moment the lights go out. But give it a few days, and you'll see store shelves empty. Give it a week, and the few stores that reopen will have armed security, or mobs at the doors. During the 2021 Texas blackout, I watched footage of people lined up around grocery stores, waiting for hours, in freezing temperatures, just to find half-empty shelves. One woman walked out with nothing but a loaf of bread and a bottle of juice, and she was one of the lucky ones. You need a secure, long-term food supply, and not just random cans tossed in a bin. Here's the rule: store what you eat and eat what you store. That way, you rotate food naturally and nothing goes to waste. Best staples for blackout survival include rice, beans, and lentils. Canned meat and vegetables. Pasta and shelf-stable sauces. Peanut butter and protein bars. Freeze-dried meals with a 20-plus year shelf life for long-term insurance. Don't stock food you've never eaten. An emergency is the wrong time to discover you hate the taste, or worse, that it makes you sick. Pro tips. Store at least 3 weeks' worth, more if possible. Keep food in airtight containers, away from heat and light. Have manual tools to open, cook, and portion it. Include comfort food, chocolate, tea, coffee. Morale matters. After the 1998 Quebec ice storm, some families lived entirely off their pantry for over a month. The ones who had planned and stocked wisely didn't just survive, they stayed calm, because food was one less thing to worry about. In a blackout, food is freedom. If you have it, you control your future. If you don't, you're at the mercy of someone who does. Number 2, security and self-defense. When the grid goes down, the rules change. No lights, no alarms, no fast police response. Desperation turns neighbors into strangers, and strangers into threats. In Venezuela's rolling blackouts, looters roamed at night, targeting homes they thought were unoccupied. One family I spoke to stayed safe only because they had reinforced doors, motion lights powered by solar, and a dog that never stopped barking. Security in a blackout comes down to 3 layers. Deterrence: make your home a harder target than others. Lighting, noise, and visible barriers work wonders. Delay: reinforce doors and windows to slow forced entry. Defense: have a plan, tools, and training to protect yourself if someone gets in. This doesn't always mean firearms, though for some, that's part of the plan. Pepper spray, bats, tactical flashlights, even loud alarms can give you the edge. Buying a weapon without training is dangerous, to you and everyone in your home. Skill and mindset matter more than the tool itself. Know your local laws. Train with whatever defense tools you choose. Practice home lockdown drills with your family. Never rely on a single layer of security, redundancy is survival. In the 1977 New York City blackout, looters didn't just hit stores, they went door to door in apartment complexes. One elderly man told me the only reason they skipped his place was the large dog barking behind his reinforced steel door. When the lights go out, the thin line between order and chaos disappears. Your safety will come down to preparation, awareness, and the will to defend yourself. And now, item number 1. The single most valuable thing you can have when the power goes out. It's not a gadget. It's not something you can order overnight. But without it, every other prep on this list could fail. When the grid goes dark, there's one thing you'll miss faster than the lights, faster than the internet, faster than hot food. It's water. Not the kind that flows endlessly from your kitchen tap when times are good. I mean safe, drinkable water, the kind your body can't go without for more than 3 days. In a blackout, your city's water pumps can stop within hours. Without power, reservoirs can't push water through miles of pipes. Filtration plants go offline. And even if some water still flows, you can't trust it. Contamination happens fast. All it takes is a loss of pressure for bacteria and chemicals to seep into the lines. During the 2021 Texas freeze, thousands found themselves melting snow in buckets to drink. Some boiled water over makeshift fires in trash cans. Others risked drinking it straight from rivers or ponds, and paid for it with crippling illness. So why is water number 1? Because without it, everything else on this list, your light, your heat, your tools, is meaningless. You can't cook without it. You can't clean wounds without it. And you sure can't survive without it. The 3-part water plan for a blackout. Store it before you need it. Minimum, 1 gallon per person, per day, for at least 14 days. Better, double it. Best, multiple storage solutions, bottled, food-grade barrels, collapsible bladders. Filter and purify. A gravity-fed filter like a Berkey or Alexa Pure. Backup, portable filters, Sawyer Mini, LifeStraw. Chemical purification tablets as last resort. Collect and replenish. Rain catchment systems. Water from nearby lakes, streams, or wells, always filtered and purified. Know how to make a solar still. If you think you can just run to the store when the lights go out, you're wrong. In most disasters, bottled water is the first thing to vanish. Shelves empty in hours. And the people who didn't plan ahead, they get desperate. Desperate enough to take yours. When the blackout comes, whether it lasts 2 days or 2 months, water will be your lifeline. It will keep you alive when everything else falls apart. Without it, nothing else matters. So stock it. Filter it. Protect it. Because when the grid fails, the clock starts ticking, and your survival depends on every drop.